Coronation Street hospital shock as Megan and Will risk exposure in disturbing twist. Megan has been secretly involved in an inappropriate and unlawful relationship with Will Driscoll ever since the pair met in Hull, where she was working as a sports coach. Completely infatuated with Megan, Will was devastated at the thought of leaving Hull when his family relocated to Weatherfield. Clueless about the deeply harmful influence Megan has over their son, his family unknowingly enabled the abuse to continue by funding her move and arranging private coaching sessions for Will, believing she was helping his athletic future. They welcomed Megan into both their home and their lives, having no idea that behind closed doors she had been manipulating, exploiting, and grooming their vulnerable teenage son. Now the situation has become even more alarming after Bertie accidentally discovered a pregnancy test in Megan's bag during his birthday party. The revelation raises the possibility that Megan may be expecting a baby, but with two potential fathers in the frame: her official partner Daniel Osborne, or Will, her underage victim. Megan quickly dismissed Daniel's suspicions by insisting the test didn't belong to her, and he accepted her explanation. Alia, however, remained unconvinced and encouraged Megan to be honest with Daniel, assuming any pregnancy would be his. In upcoming episodes, Megan drops another bombshell by telling Will that she needs to leave town for a while. Alarmed by her sudden decision, Will asks whether she's seriously ill. Megan soon appears unwell, and the pair end up heading to the hospital, where they wait anxiously in A&E for her to be examined. Before Megan has the chance to see a doctor, there's a terrifying risk that someone from Will's family could spot them together. Meanwhile, Ben begins suffering severe chest pains, prompting Eva to fear the worst and immediately call an ambulance. Completely unaware of the dangerous coincidence, they rush to Weatherfield General, not knowing that Megan and Will are already there. The tension mounts as questions loom large. How will Megan and Will justify being at the hospital together? Is Megan actually pregnant? And if so, could Will be the father? Speaking about the explosive storyline, Coronation Street producer Kate Brooks teased the dramatic fallout to come. When the truth finally emerges, it's going to be incredibly intense, she revealed. They're a very close-knit family who deeply care for one another, and that love sits at the center of everything. The real story is about how they face these enormous challenges, how far they'll go to protect Will, and what sacrifices they're prepared to make. Coronation Street spoiler: Ben struck by frightening medical emergency. Tensions rise as Eva and Maggie clash bitterly over the potential sale of Maggie's stake in the pub. Ben steps away to sort out a beer delivery, but suddenly doubles over, grabbing his chest in obvious discomfort. Leanne later attempts to buy Maggie out with an offer of £160,000, only for Maggie to refuse. And the situation quickly escalates when Leanne's handbag becomes tangled around a bar stool, causing Maggie to lose her balance and hit the floor. Eva soon realizes something is seriously wrong when she notices Ben looking clammy and unwell. After Ben confesses that he's been experiencing irregular heart flutters, Eva wastes no time in calling for an ambulance. Elsewhere, a nervous Will is already waiting in A&E alongside Megan, who has been taken ill. With their secret hanging by a thread, the question remains, are they on the brink of being exposed? Back at home, Kevin returns and is overwhelmed by memories as he gazes sadly at an old photograph of himself and Debbie from happier days. His frustration boils over and he lashes out, wrecking the living room while Tyrone looks on in disbelief after following him inside. Breaking down, Kevin admits to Tyrone that he feels completely at breaking point. Meanwhile, at the cafe, Roy opens up to Lisa, revealing that it marks the anniversary of Haley's passing and that he plans to visit the boating lake where he scattered her ashes. He also gently encourages Carla to make amends with Lisa, reminding her that Haley would want her to find happiness. Carla replies that Haley would want the same for Roy as well. Later, over at number 8, Jodie offers to help Lily with a self-portrait, but quietly undermines Shona, planting seeds of doubt while pretending to be supportive. Coronation Street deepens Jodie mystery as she cuts final ties to her past. Coronation Street has dropped yet another tantalizing hint in the ongoing mystery surrounding Jodie Ramsey, the newly introduced half-sister of Shona Platt, as she begins to settle into life on the cobbles. In tonight's episode, viewers saw David grappling with how to break the news to Shona that Jodie would be staying under their roof for the foreseeable future. Meanwhile, Jodie appeared far from unsettled as she bonded with David's daughter Lily and his niece Bethany, chatting comfortably as though she had always been part of the household. Observing the scene, Bethany reassured David that Jodie seemed pleasant enough. "She seems nice," she remarked before adding pointedly, "she settled in pretty fast. Good luck explaining all that to Shona." Back at the hospital, Shona informed David that she was being discharged, leaving him with no option but to admit that he had taken Jodie in after witnessing her suffer what he described as some kind of panic attack. Initially taken aback, Shona hesitated over the surprise revelation, but quickly softened when she realized her sister was in genuine need of support. "I'm sure it'll be fine," Shona said, though David's uneasy expression suggested he wasn't entirely convinced. Later, Nick Tilsley paid a visit to the house and was visibly startled to find an unfamiliar face inside. When Jodie introduced herself as David's sister-in-law, Nick remained skeptical and insisted on sticking around until David and Shona returned home. Once the couple clarified the situation and confirmed Jodie's identity as Shona's sister, Nick finally accepted the explanation and left. As Jodie headed upstairs to change, Shona noticed worrying bruises around her wrists. Later, she gently raised her concerns, asking whether an abusive relationship was the reason Jodie had nowhere else to go. Jodie brushed it off with a grim comment, saying, "I suppose that's what happens when you choose the wrong bloke." She went on to reflect bitterly on recent events, recalling how her attempt to escape her past had been cruelly derailed. "The one time I try to get away and I end up caught in a massive car crash," she said, referencing the devastating Corriedale accident seen during the Emmerdale crossover. "But then I saw you in the hospital, and suddenly everything clicked. It felt like it was meant to happen." When Shona urged her to report her violent ex-partner to the police, Jodie shut the idea down, explaining that doing so would only put her in further danger by revealing her whereabouts. Later, alone with David, Shona confessed that she was struggling with guilt over her past mistakes. She admitted feeling responsible for Jodie after abandoning her when they were younger. Shona revealed that she had walked away from her little sister and her family years ago and had never managed to rebuild those relationships after they moved away. Determined not to repeat history, Shona resolved to protect Jodie this time and promised she would never turn her back on her again. "You know you can talk to me," Shona told her gently. "Whenever you're ready, you're going to be okay." However, the episode's closing moments cast a dark shadow over Jodie's apparent fresh start. Alone at last, she quietly retrieved her SIM card from her purse, despite previously claiming her phone had been lost, and deliberately threw it into the bin, severing her final link to her past. "I'll be more than all right," Jodie murmured ominously, leaving viewers with one pressing question: is Jodie truly escaping danger or hiding something far more troubling? Coronation Street airs on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8 p.m. on ITV1 and streams on ITVX.